Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Commerce Central, where we talk all things business and community, and I'll have a better tagline, I guess, as we keep going and doing the podcast. But today we have with us Alesha Harris. Alesha works with the Lawrence County Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition. Now, it's one of my favorite organizations for what they do in our community, but I hate to say it because it is a mouthful, even though I like to talk. But Alesha, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your organization.
So we are a nonprofit organization, and we are working to combat the substance use and misuse in our community. Mm-hmm. We started as a one-person staff in 2016.
Yep.
And it was primary prevention. That's all we could do, which for those of you that don't know what that is, that means that, we would go into the schools and teach children to prevent them from getting and becoming addicted to drugs. Mm-hmm. And then we would also go out and educate our community on different ways for them to help in that process.
Well, it's interesting because since it started, I remember the very first meeting, right? Like it was at the old city administration building, and it was a room full of interested people, business people, and local politicians, state level as well. I think we had some people from around the region that had done a coalition before, and just explaining like, hey, this is an issue that's facing every community. And even more so every family. Each of us could tell a story of someone personally that we know that has dealt with substance use disorder, is what it's called now. But as we kind of, in the pre-meeting to this episode, we wanted to not be gloomy, but wanted to be kind of levity, or provide some levity to the conversation. But it's funny, the terms around substance use right now, they're changing, but I'm glad they are, because now we can identify the problem better.
Yes.
But the first time I heard substance use disorder, all I could think about was SpongeBob SquarePants because of SUDS, right? Exactly. But that's kind of, it's accurate. And Ben, I hope in the episode you drop a picture of SpongeBob with a SUDS somewhere. But it is a real issue, and it touches every part, and it's important for our economy because of the workforce that we try to combat it. So what are we seeing as far as, from your perspective, how are we doing in combating it?
Well, one problem is nobody even knows that the Substance Coalition is here.
Sure.
Because it's still so new. But I can tell you that in communities where coalitions have been around for years, because coalitions are not a new concept. Yeah. They've been around for 20, 30 years. Yeah. And so what we've seen is trends like as far as selling alcohol to minors, selling tobacco to minors, selling things like that are trending down. Yeah. But just like everything else, once you stop one problem, another one is created. Right. And so unfortunately, I'll never be out of a job. Yeah. So that's all we can do is hope that one day that I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I've got to tell you, as the coalition was launched and started, it has evolved from a one-person shop to there's now a team of people. Their mission every day is to wake up in Lawrence County and provide services, provide information and awareness. Tell us about your team.
Yes. So I have Trey Donovan. We recently changed his title to, he is our youth engagement coordinator. Cool. And so one of the fun things that we've started in the last year is a youth coalition. Cool. And in our school systems, it started with a homeschool group, and then it's grown, and we have a pilot program running in Etheridge Elementary School right now. Good. And that's a big, huge deal because we have 7th and 8th graders and freshmen and sophomores that are committed to preventing substance misuse in their schools. And if you talk to them, you will realize that each of them have been affected personally by substance misuse and substance use disorder. And so that's what Trey does. He is in charge of them, I guess in charge of them, as in charge of them as he can be, because they are teenagers at the end of the day. But we do a lot of things with them. We were supposed to take them to Washington, D.C. at the end of the month, but COVID isn't allowing us to do that. So hopefully we will get to take them to Orlando to a conference in the summer. And we are all the time trying to do stuff. They're working on campaigns, different things like that. And then I have Nicole Miller. She is our drug endangered children's coordinator. A fun fact about that position is she's one of 6 in the state. And if I recall correctly, there are not drug endangered children coordinators in very many states at all.
Right.
We are a pilot program. Not only is the state looking at us, the whole country is.
Wow.
The federal level is looking at what we're doing. And she's hit the ground running. We have a program that's in our schools to kind of help kids, and I can't talk a whole lot about it because it's super confidential, but it's there and it's working, and we've helped. I know last year during COVID, she helped 70-something kids through that program, and so she's works with the school system. She works closely with Ashley Duncan's office, the youth service officers, and so basically anything to do with drug endangered children. She works with DCS. So the purpose is for these children that are living in homes where substance use disorder is and substance misuse is happening, is that they're not falling through the cracks. And so that's the goal of that role. And she can help get parents into rehabilitation centers, and she can also help youth get into rehabilitation.
Good.
And then we have Ginger Wells. Ginger's a rock star. 1 month. So Ginger, let me back up. Ginger is our hybrid lifeline coordinator. And so hybrid is a new lifeline coordinator that we have in the state. And they can actually transport people to rehabs, whereas the other lifeline coordinators can't.
Right.
1 month, it was either March or May, one of those M months. She got 100 and something people into rehab.
Wow.
So it's insane.
Yeah.
Last month, she talked to 2,000 people.
Wow.
And went on vacation.
Well, she needed the vacation.
Yes.
That's for
Yes.
Sure. But 2,000 people. Wow. And so, I mean, that's just a few members of your team.
Yes, I have one more.
One more. Go for that, and then I've got a question about the 2,000 people.
Yes. So Carissa Kilburn is our project coordinator for stimulants and opioids. And so that's a brand new grant that we got. And so stimulants include methamphetamines, Adderall, those types of things. And then the opioids are from, heroin to Roxy's to fentanyl.
Yeah. So again, the team has grown, and you can tell that it's needed. Obviously, the metrics and the programs and what you're doing, especially with the youth, is really important. It gives them, I guess, ownership of the issue, and of course, getting peer to peer. That's where the change happens.
Yes.
But let's talk about those 2,000 people that Ginger worked with and got them to, just make the phone call, right? They called. What kind of issues are they seeing right now as far as what substances are they dealing with? What issues are they working through?
So there's a wide variety of addictions out there and substance use disorder. So anywhere from alcohol to pills to meth to heroin. But something that stood out to me after speaking to Ginger the beginning of this month, we were kind of talking about the trends that she was seeing and things like that, is that we're seeing a turn for fentanyl being people's drug of choice.
Wow.
And so
before it was just things were laced with it and it was scary, but now it's literally the choice.
Yes.
Wow.
There are people that are turning. And so in my opinion and in my mind, once we make that turn, I don't know what that's going to look like anymore. And as coalitions, we don't know.
Right.
And law enforcement doesn't know.
And that's what's interesting is we've seen, even in our lifetimes, things turn. It was heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, then more synthetic things, and now we're at this level.
Yes.
And when you think about kind of like the fatality rate as the turn goes, what I've noticed is, numbers, it goes up as the turns keep happening. Things are getting deadlier and deadlier. So, and for maybe you're watching and maybe you know someone that needs help, how do they get in touch with you for that service?
So Ginger's going to be the person that you call, and she has her very own work cell phone, and we can hopefully provide that on the screen. Or,
we'll do that. At the bottom here, but so that's good information. So let's turn from that, because again, the issue goes far into family life and the economy and social life, just all the things, and crime. I haven't even touched on crime and all of that, but let's talk about how people can support the coalition now. Because y'all do a lot of really fun things.
Yes, we do.
So tell us about them.
So we do lots of fun things in our community. So one of the things that we do is a summer camp for kids. And so we're always looking for support for that. Speakers, people to pour into these kids. We're working on a teenage mentorship program to target teenagers. And there's all kinds. So support like that. As simple as liking and sharing our Facebook post, awareness that way. to financial support.
Yeah.
And so, we do a duck race, not real ducks, and we are toying with the idea this year of doing a duck drop.
Okay.
So we will put hopefully 13,000 ducks in the air and drop them on the ground. Not real ducks.
Yeah.
Rubber ducks.
Rubber ducks. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
What was the tagline? Was it like duck drugs or?
The yard signs said, "We support Lawrence County. We support LSAP helping Lawrence County duck from drugs."
That's it.
Yes. So that's going to be our signature thing. We're going to
Yep.
do that every year. We have moved that up to May, and the reason we moved that to May is so our school systems could be involved
Yep.
and our kids could be involved, because who doesn't like a duck themed thing?
Well, especially 13,000 ducks potentially dropping out of the sky and what?
Yes.
Like, that's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 13,000 rubber ducks. So we have the school ducks. So we have school ducks and we have community ducks.
Yeah.
And so the school ducks are actually sharks. They're
Nice.
shark ducks, and then the community ducks are yellow.
Yeah.
So
Now, last year we did it in Shoal Creek, right?
yes,
And it was kind of cold.
it was cold. The creek was really cold. Some of the ducks got loose, and we had to chase them. We got all the ducks. We got all 5,000 ducks, but we had to chase the ducks. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's a really cool opportunity for, maybe offices like ours, or maybe your business, if you're watching, to go in together and have a team of ducks, right?
Yes.
And that's really fun. Now, you also have other events throughout the year. I remember there was a great partner recognition dinner, I
Yes.
believe. Great event. So there's that.
We do campaigns all throughout
I was
the
going to say,
year.
the number of campaigns I'll do is really impressive.
Yes. So this month is our Red Sand Project.
Yes.
It's Human Trafficking Awareness Campaign. And, drugs and human trafficking go hand in hand. Unfortunately, in our community, I won't get into the details because they are doom and gloom.
Yeah.
But we have human trafficking here.
Yeah.
It's just not what people think about.
Right.
It's not shipping people across state lines and borders. Yeah. It's people selling for things and those types of things for drugs.
When just fun backstory. I was one of those youth service officers. That was my first job out of college, and also I was involved in a number of organizations like the H21 campaign and International Justice Mission, and had been part of some national campaigns about human trafficking. Again, just raising awareness. The End It movement, for example, and one of my projects in undergrad and college was all about human trafficking in Tennessee. And of course, everyone was talking about the Atlanta to Chattanooga pipeline. And I was like, okay, this is a really bad urban issue. Well, then I got to the Lawrence County numbers, and I'm wanting to say, by the statistics from TBI in 2013 or 2012, we were like number 7 in the state.
We're in the middle of a triangle.
Yeah.
And so you think about our interstates, and forget interstates, the Trace.
The back roads, yeah.
The Trace is a road that's not monitored very well. Right. And I don't mean that because it's a park.
It's a parkway. That's
right. It's a parkway, and so there are park rangers and there are things like that, but semis aren't allowed on it and things like that. So you don't think about drugs and people being trafficked on the Natchez Trace Parkway, but they are.
Yeah.
And then you have Highway 43 and Highway 64, and drug dealers and traffickers are getting smarter.
Yep.
They're not on the interstates anymore. Right. So we're going to see those trends going up. And it's also important to know that over the last 10, 15 years, the definition of human trafficking has changed.
That's right.
And so if you're selling someone for something, it doesn't have to be cash. It can be drugs. It can be your rent. It could be your electric bill. That's classified as human trafficking now. And that's what we see in our rural areas.
Yeah. No, that's right. That was one of the more heartbreaking stories I remember from my time at the courthouse, and I won't go into it, but it was bad, and I'll leave it there. But human trafficking is a big issue. The state of Tennessee has done some cool things.
Yes, we are at the top. I mean, when you talk about combating human trafficking, combating substance misuse and substance use disorder, we are fortunate to live in the state of Tennessee because other states strive to be us.
Oh, that's exactly right.
Yes.
Again, that's about Lawrence County too. We love being the poster children for things, and whether it's economic development or substance abuse prevention coalitions, I'm getting better at it, and it's really great. But you live here.
Yes.
So let's talk about your experience living in a rural community. What do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
So I live in Loretto. that's
Okay.
where I live. And obviously I said Loretto, so I'm not from there.
Not Loretta.
My husband is.
Yeah.
So I actually grew up in Wayne County.
Okay.
So super rural. I like being able to drive to Walmart in 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Even living in Loretto. So, but I love it. I love this small town. I love knowing that I can pick up the phone and call our economic development
Yeah.
or our county executive or even the mayors in our municipalities
Yeah.
and say, hey, look, this is the trend we're seeing. How can we as a community, how can y'all
Yeah.
help us and how can I help you?
Yeah.
And so that's what I love because I know that not all communities have that.
Right.
Based on other coalitions. And the bigger the community, the less that they have that.
Right. Yeah. That connection. Does our coalition do anything regionally?
Yes. So we work in a Region 5 South.
Okay.
That's just what it's called.
Yep.
And so we work with other established coalitions that are funded, and we also help get other communities. Part of our grants, the way they read, is that we are to help other communities that don't have coalitions.
Yeah.
So Giles County, Wayne County, they
Yeah.
don't have funded
formal
coalitions.
coalition, yeah.
So our role is if they pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, we are wanting to start a coalition. Can you help us put a town hall meeting together?
Right.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to.
Cool.
And so we're working on right now a regional campaign
Yeah.
with the 5 South. So that's
Yeah.
hopefully coming.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool. The nonprofit sector in Lawrence County specifically has been awesome to watch grow and shift over time. When you look at services, for example, Kids Place or the shelter or Center of Hope, and now the coalition. Again, it's bolstering that regional thing because we understand people don't recognize county lines a lot of times. But again, it's great to have a local resource like you, Alesha. So with that said, you get the final word for today, and I did give you a heads up. Unfortunately, I didn't do so with Speaker Sexton,
Yeah.
Congressman Green. But so I gave you a heads up there. But a single word, what you got for us?
Word for the day?
Word for the day.
Oh, I didn't know I had to come up with the word for the day.
I tried to give her a heads up. Everybody. I tried.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
So I'll throw out some examples that way. I think we've had service, we've had serendipity,
Serendipity,
had
eclectic, opportunity.
Okay, futuristic.
Futuristic. Okay.
Now, why is that?
Why?
Because we always have to look in the future and what we're doing now, how that's going to affect the future.
That's right.
Because it matters.
It does matter. I like that. Thank you for joining us on Commerce Central.
Yes.
Everyone, tune in next week. And last thing, business community, make sure you get in touch with Alesha with the Lawrence County Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition and support what they're doing. It matters to your business. It matters to the
Yes.
community. Follow them on Facebook. There'll be links or somewhere in the
Yeah, I'll
video.
put it
and
somewhere, yeah.
We'll do that. But talk to you next week.